This next story is real quick. Windows 11 has crossed 30% market share for the first time since launch. So basically, Windows 11 came out, hasn't been real popular, which I think personally is number one due to the fact that there's just hardware requirements. Like when it came out, my computer at the time couldn't handle it. And number two, it was technically like an open beta or something. And so, of course, obviously, when something rolls out in beta, especially something like your operating system, I think most people are going to be like, I'll give it time. And I certainly missed the memo when it was no longer in beta, so I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that. But anyways, unfortunately, most people who are leaving Windows 10 are not jumping ship to Linux. Although Windows 10 is going down, it is now below 65%. So yeah, I think it's just, people are buying new computers that have better hardware that come pre-installed with Windows 11. It's just kind of filtering out slowly. Plus Windows 10 is losing support soon, so it will no longer be getting security updates. Some of y'all are really convinced that that is just the way to go. I still see on my analytics sometimes people who are using like Windows 7, and I think I've even seen Windows XP once or twice. I think you're insane for browsing the internet with those things. If you want to have them to like play some kind of old game or whatever, that's on you, but
yeah, I'm kind of in a weird spot right now. I don't know if I mentioned this in the live stream maybe, but I recently got a desktop literally just for gaming. And I got it used on Craigslist because I was looking at building my own and it was going to be really sick. But I looked at the cost of like an Alienware desktop used just locally and it was like $200 and it came with a GTX 1070, I think, and an i7 6700K, and they still had Windows 10 on it. And I'm going, what's wrong with this person? So, and I learned it's not supported. And so to this day, I haven't really decided what to do. And, Windows 10 still gets security updates, so I don't feel pressed to update. But it runs a 6700K. It's an i7 6700K. It's, in my eyes, still a fairly modern processor. It's more than capable of running most games at pretty high settings. There is no, in my eyes, there's no reason why it can't support Windows 11. So I think it's actually really embarrassing, and it's a big selling point for things like Linux that really prioritize, making devices last longer. So sadly, a couple of the games that I'm playing aren't supported on Linux. So I was considering just installing Linux on it and just pissing off with Windows, but I don't know. Work in progress. It's a whip.
I mean, again, if you're not going to be browsing the internet with it, if it's just going to be offline playing games, I don't see an issue with that.
That's the worst case if I'm stuck with just an outdated OS, but that's not my preference. I still want to be using a modern operating system with modern features, because eventually too, the software I'm using to get these games is going to have software requirements as well that are going to require Windows 11. So I think the sooner I can figure something out, the better. And I'm just not one of those people. I'm not one of those. I'm going to stick to Windows Vista because I'm convinced that it does the least amount of spying because, I don't know, in the process, you're running horribly insecure software.
I will say, depending on the game you're playing, it might be wise to keep an old version. Like, I can't play Knights of the Old Republic 1 anymore on Windows 11 because it's so old that whoever made it, LucasArts, or whoever's responsible for developing it on Steam just doesn't care anymore. So it doesn't work with Windows 11 unless I download some sketchy program from some YouTuber. Also, just real quick, while we're talking about Windows 10 and 11, I know people disagree with me, but I really push back. Like, there's a lot of people out there, they're like, oh, Windows 11 is just Windows 10 with cosmetic changes. There's so many articles out there from actual experts who are like, no, there are serious security improvements here. And there's also serious privacy downgrades, for the record. So I'm not saying it's like on par with Mac or like Cubes or anything, but I hate that narrative.
Thanks for watching this surveillance report clip. This is a clip from our surveillance report podcast where we break down the privacy and security news every single week to keep you as safe as possible. So if you want to check out the full podcast and get all the news, check that out down in the description or click one of the things here to check out the main channel. See you next time.